Hey guys, welcome back to the Cool Classic Kids Show. Today we have to talk about revisionist history, and actually made a video prior, but the revisionist history surrounding Stellar Blade itself. Now, the video I made 2 weeks ago was basically the topic was involving Stellar Blade, but the topic of discussion was the revisionist history of Bayonetta, because Bayonetta was originally very much hated by far leftist weirdos who fall under the feminist banner, and that was how it started in regards to Bayonetta. And to ignore all the many years of people defending this character, throwing those people under the bus to eventually say, like, oh, nobody hated Bayonetta to begin with. There is an article after article discussing the sexualization of women and the objectification of women surrounding Bayonetta as a character. There's none of that. But what eventually made these individuals who hated Bayonetta come to terms with actually liking Bayonetta, besides her being a good character, was that they had thought she was lesbian. They thought that she was in a lesbian relationship with her Umbran Witch friend, well, sister, Jeanne. They thought that that was the case, and really, sexual liberation used to be a pro-feminist thing. Now, apparently, sexual liberation is only acceptable among, like the far leftists, the really extreme weirdos that bitch and whine about everything. The only time that that's now acceptable is when it is a part of the LGBTQ plus community. That's the only time it's now acceptable, at least in 2024, until things, until things make a change, because with how extreme these people are, the pendulum is a swinging. But now people want to say that essentially nobody hated Stellar Blade to begin with. Let's not acknowledge that Stellar Blade was a huge controversy in this article from The Gamer. And mind you, I don't really like The Gamer very much. I actually like dunking on their videos because normally they take really dumb stances. And while this article itself does have some really dumb stances, the reality is you cannot deny that Stellar Blade is was a subject and still is really a subject of controversy. Why is Stellar Blade's design so controversial? You can't sit here and pretend that nobody hated Stellar Blade to begin with. In order to be controversial, well, one side has to take one stance and the other side has to take another. And that's what had happened from the very announcement of Stellar Blade. So how did people originally start with this disdain for Stellar Blade, or them taking some form of issue with Stellar Blade? Well, when Stellar Blade was first announced many moons ago, it was deemed by some off rip to come off as quote-unquote outdated. And the most prominent individual that had said this, that we clowned into oblivion, was Alex from Digital Foundry. He said Stellar Blade comes off as outdated simply because of Eve's look. And mind you, nobody cares about Digital Foundry's actual opinions on anything. Nobody cares about what you have to say. We absolutely clowned this dude, and the funny thing is he did double down. He doesn't care. But either way, made fun of him. He got clowned. And why is that? Well, because a lot of people off rip, and mind you, a lot of the disdain towards Stellar Blade is specifically from making assumptions. A lot of it is. Not all of it, but some of it. The first assumption that was made was that Eve's character had an unrealistic female proportions. That's what it was deemed from the jump. The so-called feminists, the so-called extreme leftists that love everybody, that care so much about everybody, they think that women that aren't flat-chested, that are, flat, that aren't flat-ass, they think that those women do not exist, which is absolutely hilarious, mind you. And this is coming from someone who is, mind you, flat-chested herself, admittedly so. I'm cool with it. It is what it is. It's not going to change. But that was the initial issue that they had. And these people were proven so wrong when it came out that Eve's character model, particularly her body, was designed essentially from a model, a real-life human being. The scans of her body were taken and used to create Eve's character, Eve's body. So, yeah, people who were like, well, this is an unrealistic female body type. Yeah, they essentially were clowned into oblivion for this for weeks. And The issue, you know what it is, man? If these people would just accept, man, we kind of just, we made a mistake by going against this game off rip and just admitted to their own wrongs, well, we wouldn't have a problem. But these types, they don't like to do that. They're never wrong. They just want to revise history or reframe their argument. But it gets even more entertaining because this is a game that we, as the general average gamer that doesn't want to be bombarded with political nonsense, we began to, how do you say, champion this game because the developers were so based and we loved to see it. And that really was shown. First example being that Stellar Blade fired employees over connections to radical feminist groups. So, love to see it, man. These people that take issue with every singular little thing, they bitch and whine about everything. They're part of cancel culture notoriously, but really they hate women that are sexy, that are attractive, that are traditionally feminine. They absolutely hate. And really, at the end of the day, normally we don't stand people, we don't cheer for people being fired, but we can't help but chuckle at the reality that two feminists got fired from the Stellar Blade development team for being feminists. Love it, love it. And apparently it's a radical group. All the more reason to get rid of these extremists. And this is when we seriously began to champion Stellar Blade as a video game. Us, the gamers, not these weirdos that don't really care about gaming. They just want to have a say in gaming because it's the popular discussion. Us, the gamers, began to champion Stellar Blade. And what also made us champion Stellar Blade was the director of Stellar Blade, who, Shift Up as a developer, they were known for making some interesting phone games. Some interesting butt jiggly phone games, but apparently he said, look, man, we put special attention into Eve as a character. We wanted to make her look good because, well, people like video games where the women look good. And he himself had admitted, I like to play video games where the women are looking good. So this is something that us as gamers, we also champion because we don't want to play as mediocre to absolutely disgusting looking characters, if it be male or female. Now, it seems as though it can, it's one of those things where it's fine if dudes are practically half naked and you're playing as them. Take, for example, Baraka from Mortal Kombat 11, who is essentially wearing panties. Okay, nasty ass panties and nothing else in the game. That's okay. But Eve from Stellar Blade? No, that's bad, apparently, according to these types. But we absolutely championed the director of Stellar Blade for basically being honest, all right? Not giving a fuck what these losers have to say about his game. He knows what sells. And at the end of the day, we loved that he stood up and he just said what he felt. Because like nowadays, especially in the West, you gotta lie, you gotta appease quote unquote woke culture, whatnot. But he doesn't care about that. You could tell that he doesn't care about that. It's not that he's taking a stand against it. It's that he just doesn't acknowledge it whatsoever. And that's what we as a society want things to go back to, where we do not acknowledge this clown ass behavior that continues to persist. That's what I champion, guys. Like for me, do I talk about issues that revolve around quote unquote woke culture? Yes, I do. But I also take the time to discuss just gaming culture, just that specific stuff, because that's what I do want gaming to ultimately go back to. Talking about the video games, talking about the culture of gaming, and not really including the political, nonsensical aspects of it. But unfortunately, in 2024, we do have to discuss some of those things sometimes, but I really do go out of my way to purposely try and balance them both with not particularly overdoing talking about the political aspects of gaming in modern day. But, after getting to know the developer, I believe his name is Kim, if I'm not mistaken, and what his stances are and why he decided to make Eve the type of character that she is, well, Shift Up got some serious hate some serious hate from IGN France. And this article was extremely, extremely disrespectful. And eventually they did have, and this is from the French IGN branch, but Bounding into Comics here said, IGN offers official apology after French branch insults Stellar Blade director for choosing to create attractive female protagonists. And mind you guys, the article itself was extremely disrespectful, going as far as to call developers incels and stuff along those lines. I'm absolutely berating the developers for making the type of video game that they chose to make. And mind you, they did eventually apologize, but kicking and screaming. They didn't immediately realize, man, this is absolutely disrespectful as hell and unprofessional from us. Let's apologize and really just delete this article. No, they were trying to revise, trying to, weasel their way around the discussion. They apologized, kicking and screaming. And this is why we absolutely love to clown this behavior. But to make things even worse, the writer of the article, and this is a translation, mind you, went as far as to say things along the lines of relating Stellar Blade to the discussion of real-world issues that persist, particularly around the abuse of women. And look, while that is an issue that clearly I acknowledge, it has nothing to do with Stellar Blade, okay? And Grums here posted a tweet saying, Stellar Blade, IGN France editor-in-chief melts down. Stellar Blade is literally killing women. It's kind of what they're relating this to, man. And the editor-in-chief said, go tell that to women who are hit, killed, denigrated, who, commit acts of self-deletion, sadly. Like, this has nothing to do with Stellar Blade as a game. Stellar Blade is not convincing women to do this. Stellar Blade is not... Here's the thing. Stellar Blade is not convincing men to perform acts of violence against women in any way, shape, or form. And the fact that we actually have to have this discussion goes to show you are the clowns that you deserve to be mocked and shamed. And that is really, the mocking and the shaming has brought this to an insane conclusion of, well, now they're pretending that that none of this happened to begin with. And that's when mocking and shaming proves to hold true and be a great way of going about things, because this is the conclusion that we are coming to, that they're now trying to hide. But we also have to talk about some of the extreme content creators around the game. And the most noteworthy one that we were clowning was Karim Joven here, who in this tweet was saying that people, essentially who find Eve to be, pretty, or just they like this game for what it is, for what it doesn't hide. Well, apparently, if you find this arousing, if you find this positive, if you endorse this, really, then you need to get all your hard drives and phones checked by the FBI. This is really what he said. It's crazy how he didn't delete this, because he's saying that essentially the female characters who are of age, they look like adults. He's saying that they don't look like adults, like they have the face of children. And really, I guess he doesn't want to acknowledge the reality that a lot of Asian women retain their youth in their face. There's a lot of, women, that happen to be Asian that look very nice despite aging. They age gracefully a lot, which is awesome. There's a lot of Asian women who do have like really young looking faces. And he doesn't want to acknowledge that reality. Automatically, if you find any of these women who aren't children to be pretty and acknowledge that they're attractive, they have attractive assets, that technically fall into lines of heteronormative attraction, well, apparently you are a diddler of underage individuals. And this is the clown behavior that we absolutely berated. Dude deserved all the smoke that he got. And this is the same dude that was also responsible for this video. New Yorkers react to Stellar Blade. It being the only video, you have to understand, Karim Jovan has a dead YouTube channel of over like 2 million subscribers. Dude averages under 3,000 views a video. This is the only video in the past many months, maybe even years, that did even remotely well. And he's saying that, well, Stellar Blade is trash. It's gonna be DOA. It's not really a good game, blah, blah, blah. You know, basically downplaying the game when really it's the only thing that's kept it, given even a singular pulse to his channel. But mind you, it's also interesting to take note of the fact that Karim here actually changed the thumbnail of this video. Originally, the thumbnail was of a green-haired weirdo who was the stereotype of modern leftism. Basically, you know, has her face on there. He's interviewing her. He eventually changed it to the female that actually took the least issue with the game that he interviewed, or that he showed us in the interview. I'd imagine that there were a lot of people from New York that probably didn't even have a problem with the game or cared. Obviously, he didn't show that, but he showed all the bad ones. He happened to have the one female that didn't really take issue very much with the game. But we also, guys, have these types that still persist. And this is a tweet from April 20th. And he said, the issue isn't sexualization, it's objectification. The fact that 0 women defend this, and only you, troglodyte, I don't even understand that term and don't care, looking incels, acting motherfuckers, are the ones defending it, kills any argument you could ever make, to be honest. Well, I exist. Are you not going to acknowledge me, the self-proclaimed queen of the tomboys, Cassie Cage, cult classic Cage, a female who has been defending this game from the start? Because guess what? Guess what? I'm totally fine with myself. Okay, I am who I am. I've accepted that very, very long ago, like half my life ago. And I have no issue with women that do look better than me being playable video game characters. Actually, I prefer that. Anybody prefers that. Anybody, any gamer would prefer to play as peak male or female characters. That is a reality. The only time that usually isn't the case is when people want to make troll characters, or, you know, there's some people that fall out of those guidelines, but the mass majority of gamers tend to want to play as characters that look better than them because it's living the fantasy. It's not incel, you know, acting MFers. But guys, I'm not the only female that's been defending Stellar Blade. First off, apparently they don't want to acknowledge lesbians that happen to like women's assets. That's the thing. But the unsung heroes of this, okay, me included, shout out to Minxie1, okay? The person that's like, okay, look, you know, married to a man, happened to be heterosexual, but even still, Minxie wants to play Stellar Blade, likes Eve as a character, thinks it's awesome that Eve is the type of character that she is. There's plenty of other women who also fall under these guidelines of, well, we're not attracted to this character. We think it's awesome that she is who she is, though. And to sit here and berate this character, berate this design, makes you absolute clown. So shout out to my girl, Minxie, who tells it like it is, man. We need more women like that in this space for sure. But to also get into women that I'm not necessarily familiar with, but who have been either interested in the game or defending the game. This person, Curart here, says, yeah, 0 women don't defend Stellar Blade. Get your ass out of here and never come back. And this is in response to the tweet that I just put up. But yes, there's women here who are very much hyped for this game. And you know what? A lot of these women are very pretty in their own right. You could tell that there's women out here who, well, they're very confident. They're not intimidated by Eve's character design. Matter of fact, they embrace it for what it is. This is like peak femininity, and that's completely fine. And you know what probably makes this peak femininity is likely because, well, it's through the eyes of a man, okay? It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. And mind you, that man who was dissed by individuals, especially the IGN France writer, dissing him, calling him an incel, the devs that, shift up devs being incels for creating this game. Mind you, he's also married to a very pretty female who happens to be an artist for Stellar Blade. You can't make this up. These are clowns that absolutely stand against this game, and they know that the mocking and the shaming has worked. Now these people want to pretend that they don't exist, that they've never had this stance to begin with, that everyone was down with Stellar Blade from the jump, because guess what? The game is actually good. I think that a lot of people thought that Stellar Blade was going to be a piece of shit game, that it was going to be all visuals, all sexy female protagonist, and then the demo came out and was established, oh, this game is actually heat. Like, this game is going to be fire. This game is going to be flames. The gameplay is dope as hell. Now, all of a sudden, people want to change their stance on the game because I think originally people thought it was just going to be trash that happens to feature pretty characters. But we have to go over this. Okay, you're not going to revise history. We know where you stood from the jump. Just admit that you were wrong. That's really all it is. There's redemption for you. Just the first act of redemption is admitting you were wrong. And until you do that, well, we're going to make sure to call you out continuously because that's just what it is. But guys, let me know what you think about this. This is going through the whole timeline of Stellar Blade, essentially. Okay, the hate campaign against it, now the hate campaign that's in hiding. I think the most important thing to really discuss here is really, they do hate Stellar Blade, but why? Why? Well, they hate the developers, but more than anything else, the reason why they hated Stellar Blade from the jump was because really they hate the audience that the game itself caters to. They hate us. They cannot stand us. They do not want us to get the types of games that we demand. And really, this is the general average gaming public. The ones that really want to keep the nonsensical politics out of video games. The ones that don't want our hobby to be hijacked by these losers that bitch and whine about everything. More than anything else, what they hate the most is us, the gamers. And really, that's where their hatred of us really determines their stance on just about everything. Sadly, they don't think for themselves at the end of the day. They just really just don't want us to get what we want out of gaming. A lot of the longtime gaming fans, more than anything else, the ones that have seen what gaming was like before the extremist politics took over it. I remember those days. Those were good days, but we're here now in 2024. But that's what I want to communicate the absolute most. The thing that they hate more than anything else is us, sadly. Guys, let me know what you think about this. If you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me over on Twitter or Kick if you'd like to continue the conversation. Consider becoming a channel member. A basic channel membership gets you instant access to the Discord, gets you Ziggy emotes, so that way Thursday nights we can hang out. You could use little Zigman, my little kitty cat, his little beautiful emotes. And yeah, guys, man, it's going to be a fun time. So definitely tune in Thursday nights, 8 p.m. for the live stream where I hang out with you guys and we have a dope ass time talking about the buffoonery in gaming and celebrating some dope ass gaming things as well. And yeah, guys, anything else? Anything else? Anything else? I don't know. Oh yeah, check out the merch store. Link is in the description below. And with all being said, guys, I'm out. Peace.